Hi, my name is Griffin Parry. I'm CEO and co-founder of Meta, and I'm joined today by Deborah Sajer, who is our RevOps leader. She's the person responsible for billing at Meta, but she's also played RevOps roles in several other major software companies, so this is very much her wheelhouse. What we're going to talk about in this video is the pain of month-end. So month-end is very obviously painful in software companies above a certain size who have more complex pricing, and we're going to talk about why. Debs, one of the things I really noticed is that when we first meet potential customers, the finance and the billing operations teams are having a rough time. Month end in particular is really hard for them. They're very clearly tired. There's an awful lot of work to do. They're very clearly stressed. They're very concerned about making mistakes. And what I often also see is a certain level of bitterness where I don't think those teams feel confident that other teams around the business understand what they have to go to, and often feel that they're being unfairly blamed for being inflexible when people want to do different pricing or offer particular deals to particular customers, for example. So you're an expert in this space. Help us understand why month end is hard.
Billing processes involve several stages and elements. The first one that comes to mind, obviously, that contribute to the complexity of the overall billing is the effectively complex pricing. And you might have complex pricing as a result of handling different regions, different product lines, different tiers, and so on. When you handle complex pricing, that leads to intricate calculations involving endless spreadsheets, countless Excel formulas, and these aspects alone really complicate make the billing ops people lives difficult, operationally speaking, on a day-to-day level. The third element is the heavy reliance on other teams, such as, for example, revenue ops and sales ops. The role that these teams play is they would have to review and validate the outcome of the billing calculations, because those are the teams effectively responsible for safeguarding the data inputs at either the CRM or the ERP or both level. Therefore, you've got that layer of complication there. If you take these three elements alone, lives is, the billing ops people lives are already difficult for as they approach month end. However, if you add the usage-based pricing into the mix, well, that really multiplies exponentially the challenges that these teams face on a day-to-day basis.
And that's because they need to talk to more people. Like you already talked about having to speak to multiple people around the business. Now they're going to have to talk to engineers to be able to pull usage data. And I guess also the calculations have become that much more complicated as well. And probably revenue recognition is an additional challenge they didn't previously have.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And so now why are they so stressed? I mean, so obviously things might go wrong when you have sort of complex and fragile systems like this. But what's the consequence of them going wrong?
The consequences, well, they are multiple, obviously. And the first most obvious thing that comes to mind is you got your bills wrong. The bills are incorrect. You're either overcharging or undercharging. You don't want to get to that, exactly, without even thinking about other consequences. So if we go back to the three elements we discussed earlier, it's a domino effect, really, because you are going to recalculate your bills, again, crunching spreadsheets, calculations, formulas, involving sales ops, revenue ops people again, and you're effectively pulling these people away from their day-to-day job, which is revenue-generating activities. So there is a big opportunity cost in that regard. And the other element that comes to mind is audits. Making sure that the accounts are in good order is of the essence. And again, it's even more important as billing ops and rev or sales ops people play a vital role in that. However, if you use a tool like Meter, you are effectively bringing down the risk of getting bills wrong to zero. And this, obviously, the most important thing that comes to mind as a positive consequence is you are passing your audits with flying colors. And that's such a relief to be able to think that you're wiping away the aspect of your day-to-day job and you can focus on what matters, which is supporting sales teams and finance teams into for revenue generating activities.
Okay, so just to recap, so the things that can go wrong is you can get bills wrong, which is a bad experience for customers and causes revenue leakage if you're underbilling. The other consequence is that in an attempt to correct your errors, you're going to suck in a lot of resource which is needed elsewhere. That's the opportunity cost you talked about. And the third big problem is you have a real risk over your audits. And it's worth adding, just from my point of view, that's not to be sniffed at or dismissed. It's not just a concern for the revenue accountant or the chief accounting officer. A bad audit could have significant implications for a fundraise or for a potential exit process. Like what an audit is doing is testing for your control environment and making sure that you're being accurate. So the conclusion is Meter resolves these problems, and it's one of the really rewarding parts working here is that we make month end much easier for these teams. Yes, absolutely. And we benefit internally as well. So that's what Meter does. We're a missing piece of monetization infrastructure that completes, connects, and unifies your monetization stack.